Previously, we created the very first level for my game, as well as adding some snazzy UI and transition effects. The game also got invaded by Senor Buggington and his gang, but using my intense skills of coding...
Oh my god, the S in shield was lowercase instead of uppercase.
Buggington and the gang got exterminated. So now, it's time to add in some finishing touches and to begin making the tutorial section of my game. Let's get into it. The first thing I did was look into improving the visuals of my game. Now I don't know if I have ever mentioned this, but I'm colourblind. So naturally, the first thing I tried to do was improve the colour palette of the game. But I'll be honest, I don't think it worked out. After changing the colours back, I decided it was important to let the player know how to play the game. I did this by just adding in some text to the world, giving instructions for the controls. And yes, for those of you that are gaming illiterate, you do have to press L, M, and then B just to shoot. At this point, I wanted to create the second level. This level would teach the player how to use the shield mechanic, so I created a new basic enemy who would stand still and shoot himself? The basic enemy will shoot projectiles towards the player, and the player will have to block the bullets in order to gain the ammo needed to shoot back. Please stop shooting yourself! After adding some tutorial text in the second level, I decided to try adding in some lighting, because I thought that this might brighten the mood. I created the lighting using the experimental 2D lights in Unity, and also put shadow caster scripts on the players and enemies, so they cast shadows. I also wanted there to be some feedback for when the player hits an enemy, as well as getting hit by the enemies, so I decided that when something with health gets hit, it will display the amount of damage received as a little pop-up. The final thing I wanted to add to level 2 was a gate that checks if all enemies are dead. I wanted to do this to make sure the player uses and understands the shield mechanic, instead of just jumping over the enemy and finishing the level. I also added a pop-up to this to tell you how many enemies are left, or nice job if all the enemies have been defeated. So bringing it all together, we have this. So it was finally time to finish making the tutorial section of the game. I made 2 more levels. Level 3 was made to introduce jumping to the player, and show them that they can use their gun to get to higher places or jump over stuff. In level 4, I wanted to introduce the player to a new gun. I decided to make a shotgun type weapon. I did this by creating a new subclass of my weapon script and changing how the firing works. This time, it creates a set amount of projectiles and fires them in a spread. This should mean that the player will need to get closer to the enemies in order to deal more damage. I wanted the player to use a new gun to get the idea that all weapons will feel different from one another. After creating the gun, I put together level 4 to try and make sure everything you have learnt so far gets tested. So I added things like 2 enemies to shoot and possibly shield from, and a jump that the player can either choose to jump over with the normal jump method, or maybe even use their shotgun to use the recoil to get over it. And hopefully it's just a fun introduction of what's to come. And there we have it, the tutorial section done, and I think my game's looking a lot nicer. As the title suggests, there is something I need to discuss. Next week I'll be heading back to uni, and this will mean that I'll have a lot less time to actually work on the squares, and I won't actually have the necessary equipment to keep making videos the way I am. However, this doesn't mean I want to stop making videos, but I may have to stop for a while. I have to see. I have to try and find some workarounds. This will also mean I won't be working on the possibly won't be working on the squares anymore. I have to see how much time I've got. But I don't want to leave you guys with absolutely nothing. We've gone through these devlogs, and I want you guys to have something to play. So next week, I'm going to try my best to work on and create 20 levels for you guys to play, and I'll release them in a demo, and I'll create one more little announcement video to sort of say, hey look, the demo's out, go play it, and give me all the feedback, and see if it's something you want me to continue working on once I have the time. The last thing I want to say is I want to thank you all for all the support and feedback you've given me in the past few devlogs. And even if this is the end for now, I promise I'll be back, and I'll be even better than I was before. So if this is exciting to you, and you're new here, please subscribe and like. If you didn't like, then give it a dislike, I won't mind. And hopefully, I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
We'll be right back.